hello. Welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Sharon, aka the Melanin Nostalgic Runner, and we're back for another episode of the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. And this is season. Hold on. You already know I got you. It is season 15, and I believe this is episode 10 or 11. I'll have to double check. You'll see it in the description, of course. And it's called The Colts Out of the Bag. And before we get into this episode, let me address the elephant in the room. Yes, I'm not on camera right now, mainly because I am still really swamped and super busy. So not only will this review be coming out without the camera, the Real Housewives Potomac reunion part 2 will also be without the camera as well. So just treat this like a nice little cute podcast, if you will. All right. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the episode. So first off, where we leave off, it's the next day, and we have Dorit, Kyle, and Rachel Zoe. They're in the Hamptons, and honestly, the whole entire time with this episode, also, I was so jealous of their trip. I wanted to be in the Hamptons so bad. And also, too, it was a summer, so it looked so nice and so together and just looked like a good time. But anyway, so we see just a brief interaction of all of them first thing in the morning. And I believe Kyle mentions how, like, Rachel looks good without makeup. She's like, nope, that's not the kind of girly I am. I always wear makeup. And then Kyle's like, okay, I'm going to go on a run. Which that is my vibe. When I go on vacation, I try to run wherever I'm at. And Rachel's, I guess, is probably like how other people are. We're like, that is one thing I am not doing. So that's kind of where we have here. And then after that, it was kind of like a brief scene. And then we have the next brief scene we have Amanda and her fiance, and they're recapping the manifestation event, moment event. And they're just kind of, Amanda's disappointed how it didn't go the way she planned. And I have thoughts on that, but we'll get into it when we go more into it. So on the other side, while this is happening, because this is a dual scene, we have Sutton and Bose, and they're at the park. I guess it's called like the Centennial Park in the Los Angeles area, or Los Angeles Beverly Hills area, I guess. And so they're kind of walking around. And them two are also recapping the event, and they're talking about Amanda. And Bose is just like a dog with a bone when it comes to Amanda. She just does not like Amanda. And Sutton's just happy to be accepted by anyone and everyone. So they're getting along just well when it comes to this. And I don't know. Like, I'm still not buying Sutton's change. And a lot of this episode, they talked about it. Truthfully, this really does need to be Sutton's last season because she really has nothing going on. But it was kind of an odd thing to see Bose and Sutton like filming together or just being in the scene together. But it was basically to talk crap about Amanda, essentially. And anyway. So then while this is happening, we are back over with Amanda and her fiance, Eddie. And he's being logical about the whole entire situation. And he basically says, as someone who has been through a separation before, there was moments when I was in it, I did not want anyone's unsolicited advice when it came to how I'm handling things. And Amanda seems like she's a little bit more perceptive of him saying this to her versus everyone else saying this to her. Even though, really what she said wasn't that bad, but Eddie's like, dude, like, well, not he didn't say dude, but he's just like, you know what, when you're going through it, any advice sounds crazy. Like, you just don't want to hear any of it. And so she's like, okay. But then he does add a little extra notch to it and states, well, maybe she is jealous of you being younger. And I could see that. I think actually most of the women on this show are jealous of her being younger, especially Sutton, and like, I think Sutton and Bose both are too. So I could see that being a thing. But Amanda, with Eddie saying that, she takes it a step further, and she's like, yeah, they're jealous of me being younger and not being dependent on a man and being successful and this, that, and this, and And I'm just kind of like, girl, if you're trying to be okay with Dorit at this point, after she watches this back, that's going to bring you back the other way. Um, but honestly, for those who know me and been on my channel for a while, I am kind of on that side of things. And I just wonder if that's a millennial thing or what that is. But I'm kind of the same way where I do kind of, I don't, at this point in this time in life, with it being 2026, I would never, and this is just me, and I would never be someone who's dependent on a man. So I could see how Amanda feels about that because I feel the same way. Although I would not necessarily thrust that belief on anyone and everyone, but also at the same time, I guess I'm not really friends with anyone at this point that or the opposite, because it's just two very opposite ideologies of life, um, of being kept and all that stuff. Because I guess even if you are going to be someone who's a kept woman, it's like you still need to have exit strategy just in case things don't pan out. And a lot of women still do not. And that's the part that I don't understand. So anyway, that was kind of like my thoughts on that. But that's pretty much what happens here, I guess, like in the first little bits of the show. So then next we see that Kyle FaceTimes Erica, and they talk about Amanda, like basically Erica recaps the dinner party. And Erica is, again, this whole entire season, Erica's basically trying to play the middle. Like she's like, I feel like the women are being extra hard on Amanda because she is trying to make the effort to put herself out there, but it's just not landing. And I think part of the reason why it's not landing, and Erica actually talks to Amanda later on, is that Amanda's not getting into her personal story. It's just everything is about her business, her business, her business, her business. And it's almost like she's thrusting it on everyone. And Bo said when she was talking to Sutton, I kind of forgot a little bit, that Bo's even said like it's like she's leading with money. Like she's very much new money. And a lot of the women on the show, and she says a lot of us are new money, but we don't like lead with that. And I think that's what getting on a lot of people's nerves. And that's also kind of and to a certain standpoint, how I'm actually kind of irritated by her too, because I'm just like, I would find that very irritating if I was a woman trying to get to know, if I was one of the women trying to get to know her, and this is all she's leading with, because it's just like, girl, who are you? But at the same time, I do like that she's kind of shaking the table when it comes to them. Anyway, so both Kyle and Erica are basically on the same page, like the women are being extra hard on her. And then Erica then shares that she's planning on going out to dinner with Sutton and Denise. And then they talk about what's going on with Denise. And for those who are new, this is Denise Richards. She was on the show. I forgot. She was on the show for 2 seasons. So she's her. And at this moment, she is in the middle of a nasty, nasty divorce. And so they're all trying to, basically, they're trying to console her and be there for her just because it's pretty nasty. We'll get a little bit more into what the divorce is about when the scene happens, but that's kind of what she states. But then also Erica shares with us, the audience, for those who may not have watched, because Denise also had a spinoff show that actually occurred last year. I didn't get a chance to watch it, but I knew from that show that Erica and Denise made up. So, but for those who didn't see it, they actually talk about this on the show, how Erica and Denise did make up. They're in a better place now. And even when they weren't in the best of place, they checked in on each other at all times. So Erica actually shared that when she was going through her things with Tom, Denise reached out to her and just, no questions asked, made sure she was okay. And Erica's like, I remember that. And that stuck out to me. Even, though we weren't in a good place, that really stuck out to me that she reached out to me. So that's kind of where we see how they're in a much better place now. So then after that, the girls, by the girls, I pretty much mean Kyle, Dorit, and Rachel Zoe, they decide they're gonna have their hot girl summer and they go to a Hamptons day party and it looks like a whole entire vibe. And I was jealous. I was like, oh my gosh. Mainly because for those who are not aware, I'm located in Chicago and it is cold. It is so cold. So we had like a brief couple weeks of like spring, like a false spring, and now we're back in winter and I'm just so over it. So whenever I see things on TV where like the weather is amazing and beautiful in the summer, I'm like jealous just by that alone. But anyway, moving on. So then back in Beverly Hills, we see Bose and her daughter. It's a brief scene and they're just walking along. I don't know where they're at exactly. Didn't really show that. Um, we're hearing that her daughter is about to go back to school soon. It's going to be her junior year. And Bose is already just thinking about, oh my gosh, the empty nest of it all. She's not really ready for that. And then from there, after we talk about the empty nest of it all, we then talk about how um, she does, share with her daughter about the IVF journey and how it's not like how things were not successful. And also the reality that she's probably going to use eggs that are not hers to make this happen when it comes to having a child. And at this point, I will be honest with you. I think Bo's story, at first I didn't believe it, but now I am starting to believe that the story is real. I I think in general though, what was always gave me pause is that she was doing this for this man. I don't think it's all the way for this man. I think what really is motivating her is that she just has never had a successful pregnancy that was just like smooth. And she really wants that. And it also shows when she's talking about her daughter about she's not really even ready for the empty nest of it all. So I don't think it really necessarily has to do with this man. The man just happens to be in the picture. That's what I'm starting to get from this. I'm hoping that's really what it is and not it being about the man. I think it really is about her and what she's wanting to do. Because otherwise, if it was just about the man and man alone, I don't think she would necessarily have to go through the IVF journey. I think she could do the surrogate and it would have been fine. But yeah, she also does share what's bothering her about this is that it would be one thing if she was to choose to do the eggs a different way, but she doesn't even have the choice. And so that is also heartbreaking for her. And so that's kind of the other thing that's what's bothering her too. And she basically says she still doesn't really know how to process it. But other women go through this, so I get it, and I'm glad she's actually sharing this. Whether the storyline's real or not, I do appreciate her sharing her thoughts on this because women go through this every single day, so there is that. So then next, we do see that Erica does go to meet Amanda at her place, and so as Amanda is at, Amanda shares that she thought of all the women she wasn't going to get along with Erica, but she actually gets along with Erica the most. And honestly, I've said this before. I have this love-hate relationship with Erica. I want to not like her because I don't like how she treated Garcelle. I don't like when she does her mafioso self where she's like, or what? Or what? Like, I don't like any of that, but I don't think that's her usually. And what we're learning, I think, really this season especially, at least the story she's telling us, is that she is not that. Like, the flamboyant kind of just like telling it to you, that is her persona. That's Erica Jane. That's not her as a person. So yeah, I guess I'm kind of getting that from her. Also, Erica doesn't waste any time. She's like, I know you're having a rough go when it comes to these women. And she even shares like, hey, I had a rough go when it comes to these women too, especially when I was going through my divorce. It was not great. It was actually really bad. But you could turn it around, basically giving her words of encouragement. And she's like, one thing that maybe will be helpful, just We want to know about the cult. I was like, Erica, no lube. You just went in. She's like, and then Erica, her confession was like, look, she introduced this conversation to us, which technically she didn't. That was really Dorit. And Amanda just responded, say, I'm open to talking about it whenever you want to talk about it. And so Erica, so then actually, surprisingly enough, Amanda does open up about the cult and she explains what happened. So what we find out is that she comes from family, even though she's from Oklahoma, which is pretty religious. That's the religious area, like you know that part of the United States is very pretty religious, but her family was not. And so she was very overly fascinated by religion and really wanted to have that in her life as a young lady. And this is like her in her teenage years. And so she ended up started going to youth groups and things like that because all her friends were religious. And she ended up started going to this youth group / church situation. And it at first on paper seemed like a regular, like, Christian situation until it wasn't. And what happened was all of them end up relocating from Oklahoma to Florida. And this is not, I'm not talking about her family. I'm talking about this religious group that she was part of. And a lot of them followed through. And looking back, she's like, oh, that was the isolation part. So then slowly but surely, all these rules came about, basically contacting the outside world and whatnot. And so slowly but surely, because she had no access to her actual friends that were not part of it and her family, she started to realize, oh my gosh, I might be in the cult. And so she basically states when she exited, she went to church on Halloween, and after the church service, and she did it basically to kind of make them not think that anything different was going on here. But then immediately after this service, she left, because it sounds like they might have been all in the same compound and all that together at this point. And so she left, and then she got a good talking to by the people who were in charge of all this. And but she never looked back, and she actually talks about how if she was to stay, and she basically said she wanted to make something of herself. So it sounds like this organization or cult basically stopped her from going to school and all this other stuff too. So she was like, no, I need to make something of myself. I need to have my own money. Because also too, it tied her finances where it was basically going towards this cult versus her having control over it. And so she was like, so now we kind of understand why the money and being independent means so much to her, because it's tied to this. And Erica basically congratulates her, and she's like, hey, this is good that you shared this, because now we know you. Like this, now I understand, like there's an understanding here. And the moral of the story that Erica was just trying to tell her is like, these ladies don't know you yet. You really need to personalize your story more of what you have going on so that the women can find some relatability with you, basically. And it seems like it was well received by Amanda, but we'll see. Okay, so then next it is dinner time, and but it's dinner time in the Hamptons. So Dorit is flirting with some of the guys that are there, and while this flirting back and forth is happening, Rachel Zoe sees the news about Erica and Tom, and basically Erica's being sued again. Um, Basically, she's being sued for spending Tom's money, and they want all that money back. It's like 22 million. And I'm like, wow. And they basically they're talking about it not in a way of like, shunning her or anything like that, in a way of like, we hope she's okay. And so I think it was either Kyle or Rachel that reached out to Erica, and she basically said, I'm fine. And, of course she's like, of course she's going to say that, but we'll find out really what's going on, as we, talk to her. Because she clearly probably is not fine about this. And then they start talking about their dating types. And Dorit keeps proceeding to tell she has no type. And then she also shows that she's grossed out by Brad Pitt for whatever reason. But once she explained it, I understood it. So she's grossed out by Brad Pitt because she's like, you never want someone that has access to everybody. And I know she said in a wordy way, but like really what she moral story what she was trying to say is she likes her men to be slightly ugly. They can't be hotter than her, basically. And I get that. I guess I get that. I don't know. I kind of cackled when she was kind of going over all this, but like both Kyle and Rachel Zoe were just like she flirts a lot. I think they didn't realize how much she flirts, but now she's getting divorced, so she's flirting a lot. And also, too, both Kyle and Dorit throughout this whole entire time on this vacation, they are seeing the old sides of each other, which they both love. Like Dorit is saying that Kyle seems to be more laid back, more chill, like the version of her that she's used to. She's actually having fun and not taking herself so seriously. And then in turn, Kyle's like, I'm seeing the fun Dorit who I used to know, where we used to like have so much fun with together. So this trip seems like it did them all some good. Like they're all getting along very well. And then from there, they talk about Sutton and how Sutton seems like she really is changing and turning over a new leaf. Now, again, I still am skeptical about whether Sutton is changing or not. But one thing that we found out that we've been finding out this season is that Sutton's not drinking. So apparently she's just an angry drunk is what we're trying to get at. Maybe Dorit was right the whole entire time about calling her a drunk. I don't know, but like the way Sutton's playing this is giving that Dorit was right 2 seasons ago when she was calling her out on it. But neither here nor there. So then after that, Rachel's like, okay, I know we have our snacks, whatever, but like we're gonna go out dancing some more. And they're all like, and Kyle's like, wait, are you kidnapping us? She's like, yeah, pretty much. Like we're gonna. This isn't done yet. We're gonna continue. And so that's kind of where we leave them. That's where things end when it comes to the three of them, at least this episode. Okay, the last scene was a pretty powerful scene. So unfortunately I was expecting this scene because of the previews and producers. I understand that you guys are trying to make a show and trying to make us interested in the show, but at least the revelation of what we got from Erica, I really wish this wasn't spoiled. I wish I didn't know that that's what we were going to be talking about towards the end. You putting it in the trailer let me know what this was going to be, and I kind of wish I didn't know that, because honestly it would have been as much of a shock to us as it was to Sutton and Denise if you wouldn't have put it in the trailer. But I get it, you have to make the show interesting, but I don't know. If I was a producer, I would not. That would have been one of those things I probably would have left out of the trailer and just maybe showed her meeting with Denise and left it at that. But maybe they felt like they needed it to get people interested in Beverly Hills. But I feel like Beverly Hills is such a niche show. And it's very different from the other Housewives shows because it shows luxury and all that stuff. That to me, I feel like people are going to watch Beverly Hills either way. Because it is the highest rated, I think it's one of the higher rated Housewives shows. And truthfully, the past 3 or 4 seasons, this season to me is the most meh of all of them. But the other ones have been kind of mid. Like in comparison to like the shows that are really, really good, they've been kind of mid. But the ratings will never tell you that. So I don't think this would have been one of those things that the producers really needed to include this in the trailer. But anyway. But Erica does meet up with Sutton first. They're just, getting ready and waiting for Denise to show up. Denise does show up, and she shares that she has had some surgeries lately. Like she had another facelift, and then she also got her boobs done. And she's, doing the best she can when it comes to this separation. And then we find out that, Sutton's not really drinking at all. And that's what they're trying to credit to Sutton changing. And the reason why this got brought up is because Sutton and Erica are getting along really, really well. And even Erica's like, now that she's not drinking, I actually get along really well with Sutton. Now, does Erica still pick on her? Yes. And it doesn't come from a, to me, now that I see the dynamic, at least in this episode, it doesn't seem like the picking comes from a place of vindictiveness or mean girl behavior. It's more or less that might be just their friendship or whatever ship it is. Because I don't see it as a friendship. I see it as more like the producers told them all to play nice with Sutton. But so then from there, they do get into the lawsuit with Erica, and Erica's like, yeah, I feel like they're trying to bankrupt me, but I'm gonna get through it. I mean, that's all I can do. And from there, we then shift from that conversation, and I'm sure we're gonna hear more about Erica and what she has going on with that in the future. Um, we then talk about Denise's domestic abuse that's been going on with her um, soon to be ex husband. And she explains all the times it occurred. And one of the times that occurred that was really, and also, too, by the way, the producers did a really decent job of painting the story for us. And I'm sure Aaron, her ex husband, probably feels really dumb that he kind of exposed himself on this show of possibly being problematic, because we've seen it on the show a couple times of him being potentially problematic and potentially an abuser. And so they show that, the producers showed it. And so that's kind of what we have as a reference as an audience. So it is painting a picture that this indeed could be him. And honestly, I do believe Denise. I clearly do. Because, the main reason why I believe Denise is because her picker. Some women have a horrible picker, and I feel like Denise is one of those women. She does not have a great picker. And she basically joked about how Charlie looks like an angel. Charlie Sheen looks like an angel compared to her ex-husband now. And if you know all the things that went on with Charlie Sheen, yeah, it was wild. I was outside when that was happening. And you want to know why I'm saying that? Is because during Charlie Sheen's tirade, he was dating a couple of corn stars. And one of the corn stars is from my hometown. And this is why I still lived in my hometown. And he was there in my hometown a lot because of the corn star he was dating. And this is when he was talking about Tiger Blood and all that. Yeah, it was a wild time. And actually there was a guardrail that his girlfriend at the time, which was that corn star, crashed into, that I think is still messed up in my hometown. And I just remember it like it was yesterday. And it also, the town I'm from, it's actually a city, but like it's a big small town. So if you know someone, you know everyone. So I've actually met her before, and not in a way that you would think. I didn't meet her in that type of situation. She was at a party that I was at, and I was like, oh, and I didn't know it was her at first because she, wasn't looking the way she looks. She was looking, regular. It was a Halloween party. But yeah. I think that actually was, now that I do the timeline, that was around the time when she was dating him. Anyway, so yeah. Denise's picker is not the best. Anyway, so then she does also share that she does appreciate Erica and reaching out to her, because basically what happened was Charlie reached out to her first, and then Erica. And then also Denise does describe one of the situations in detail, particularly around the time after she had surgery, about him and trigger warning, about him slapping her upside the head. Well, basically hitting her upside the head. I wouldn't say necessarily it was a slap, but hitting her upside the head after she had surgery. So she was already in a horrible state. And apparently this has happened more than once. And the reason why I got brought up was Erica asked about the black eye. That Denise has publicized, and so we see that that's a thing. But the plastic surgery and her being hit and all that, that's what led to her doing the restraining order and what led to the separation and all that. And then we get a crazy revelation that I never thought that we were going to get here. But I mean, I knew it because of the producers already told us. But Erica's like, I understand what you're going through because I've been through it. And we're like, what? And everyone's in complete shock when she's saying it. And we find out that Erica was apparently in a DV situation herself, but wasn't either of her husbands. And this was right after, I guess she was dating a guy right after everything ended with Tom. So it was fairly recent. And she hasn't told anyone until now. Like, she decided at this moment to tell everyone. And previews from next episode looks like she'll go more into detail what happened there, but she does explain that it happened to her quite a few times, but she didn't get wrapped up too deep into it, clearly, because she's not in that relationship anymore. And Son was in total shock this whole entire time, by the way, because and honestly, I probably would have been too if I wouldn't have known that this was coming, because you would never think that would happen to her, but it did. And she was like, yeah, it was like, I never thought it would happen to me either. And it did. And she, the thing that Erica mentioned is like, what was embarrassing is I'm calling 911 when my son's a cop. And then I had to call my son on the side to let him know, hey, this is a thing. And it was the most humbling, embarrassing thing ever. So she's like, there's just a lot of embarrassment and shame that goes into it. And I get it. And I'm not going to share my story too much, but I have had a situation as well in my younger years, and it does change you. It changes you. And I'm not trying to laugh about it, but for those who know, that is sometimes my reaction when I'm like scared and not happy or whatever. I laugh. It's a different kind of laugh. It's not a normal laugh. It's more of like a trauma response laugh. But yeah, no. I get it, because it can happen to anyone, everyone, and it's happened to me too. So I totally get it. I understand it. But next episode, yeah, we're supposed to be talking more about it. And then they do turn the subject around where apparently, she's like, no, I'm dating someone new now. Everything's good. I'm dating basically ex special forces guy. And that's kind of where things end. But we'll get more into Erica's details. And I don't know if this is Denise's only appearance this season, but hopefully we get more, because I want Denise to be back on the show, truthfully, because I think it would be more interesting if she was on the show. And I feel like Denise would be on the side of Amanda and kind of helping her navigate as well. Because truthfully, I do think the women are treating Amanda unfairly also. But I can see how she is annoying, because she is annoying. But anyway, that does conclude my review of this episode. Let me know what you think in the comments. Overall, I did like the episode. I didn't mind it. I think Beverly Hills is a slow burn, though. I really do. It's a very slow burn. It's like a simmer. It's like, honestly, to me, Beverly Hills is if you're a frog and you're in a pot and you don't know you're getting cooked until you're cooked. That's a kind of a slow burn it is to me. But anyway, that does conclude this review. Please like, comment, subscribe to the channel if you get anything out of the content. It's your girl Sharon, aka the Mellow Nostalgic Runner, and I will see you next time. Bye.